the ballerina is constantly stretched. In each generation, new choreographers seek new means of expression, placing greater and greater demands on us, and extending the language of the dance. When Roland Petit created Blue Angel for me in Berlin in 1985, he explored many moves and emotions I never experienced in Russia.
Hop, slow.
It's very difficult to define Roland Petit's style of choreography. He adapts to the story he's telling.
1, 2, 1, 2.
He will simply try to find a key for the characters. We're experimenting. Of course, above all, Roland Petit is French.
Attrape-la. Voilà, très bien.
Et là, lentement, hop, et la jambe derrière.
Maurice Béjart is often regarded as the outstanding modern choreographer for the male dancer. But of course he has also made beautiful dances for ballerinas.
Il faut qu'elle s'appuie sur sa jambe, sur elle-même, avec les bras, tu vois.
He is rehearsing with Marcia Haydn and Georges Dom. They are working on a pas de deux which he made for them in his ballet, Vin, Vin, Nol, Du Allein.
Of course, the classic create the idea of the ballerina because the dance of the boy was very much behind, just to lift the girl and just to help the girl and just to be the cavalier of the girl. I think we must get in a moment where men and women are equal. It's been a period in the Romantic era when in the ballet it was only women on stage and the men were just here to help. And then it's been changing, and then we have to push the men to dance and to be better with technique, with strongness, with virtuosity, and a good challenge with the girls, you know. And I think now it's equal. Et tac. Et un très léger, hop. Et 2, 3, hop, arrondi bien, tac, tac, yap.
And in New York, Jerome Robbins, choreographer of West Side Story, Fiddler on the Roof, Fancy Free, Dances at the Gathering, and this one, for Mikhail Baryshnikov and me, Other Dances. It's too hot. Can I take this out?
Same thing, let's keep tempo on it a little bit more.
But I want to sing.
You sing.
He tries thousands of different ways of expressing something. What he finally decides upon is always perfectly suited to the music and to the dancer's body. And still there is always room for self-expression. Often when I ask him what I should do, he answers, "You yourself know best."
you speed up. You do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 1, 2 again. Sometimes you go up on the 1.
Yeah,
You rush. You have more time. You want to do the...
But you would like me to be after 1, I think.
Oh, yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Plie 1, 2. You'll be all right.
Music, as it goes through his mind, transforms itself into precise choreographic
Speed up.
sequences.
Watch. Just right from there.
From the...
The third one. All right? And...
I didn't... Just a little bit before.
4 bars. 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, yes, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, yes, 4, 5, 6.
Robbins is the most romantic of modern choreographers. He seems to have an innate sense of movement that is always controlled.
Easy.
Jerome Robbins, a poet of movement. Works of his, like other dances, are of course firmly based on the principles of classical ballet. And it is still the great classical roles by which the ballerinas of each generation are judged. What is the difference between good dancer and a ballerina?
Same thing, except a ballerina is much better.
Always.
The ballerina is perfect.
There's nobody perfect.
The ballerina has to be perfect,
Has
like a
to-
prima donna.
Has to be perfect.
She has to be the top of her classical area. She has to be able to do Swan Lake, Giselle, Sleeping Beauty perfectly. Then she can be a ballerina.
Anthony Tsider is right. Those 3 ballets give to ballerinas such challenging roles. Aurora in The Sleeping Beauty, Giselle, and this one, Odette, in Swan Lake. A princess cast under a spell becomes Odette, the queen of the swans. The wings start here, yes? The spell can only be broken if a man promises to love her and be faithful. And he's there. You can look at him through your wing. In the second act, she meets Prince Siegfried. Okay, let me see. I first danced Odette in Swan Lake at the Kirov 25 years ago. Coaching Raffaella Renzi, a young dancer from Berlin Opera Ballet, I realized that over the years, and after many performances, I've got to know that very intimately. Swan Lake demands from the ballerina very special physical qualities. Soft flowing lines of the body, long legs and neck, flexible, expressive arms, and clearly arched feet. What's happened now? Come here. What's happened? I see him. You see him? I didn't see you see him. Can you show you see him and you're frightened? First is too tense. Where is he? What is he? Yes. Okay, everything frightening, yes? Nervous. No, it's not enough. No. You go, leave it to the last moment. Watch him. He's there. So he's not here, but imagine. He's there, yes? When you turn, you want to run, you turn. But head coming first, because you don't want to lose his action. You don't know what he will do with you. Maybe he shoot you. Swan Lake is a lyrical drama, And it requires not only impeccable technique, but a special gift for dramatic expression. Again, look and close. Cover yourself with the wings. Here, here. Right, that's better neck. Don't forget to use the neck. Swan is most important, this part. Yeah? Okay, let's do solo. Everybody waiting for your start, for your song, for your story to tell, yes? And how you walking in from the wings? So you have already mood, the mood of your solo, yes? In the wings, you have to prepare for the mood, yes? To create atmosphere around yourself. And you have to present yourself. First, technically, I don't think it's very good to do like that. And the normal walking through the, stretch the feet, but put the heel down. Yes, and you start or whatever you do. Over the years, in my own performances, my interpretation of Odette has changed. At one time, I danced her as a frightened, fluttering bird maiden. Later, I softened the bird-like mannerisms and concentrated on her human nature. But this was going too far. Then, I believe, I found the golden mean. Odette is an enchanted bird maiden who knows her fate. She knows that the desire for human love can only end in failure. Well, we have to start all again. You need a lot of work for that. You have such a nice extension, why don't you use the leg from the jump? It has to be here. Give me your leg. You see, it can be here. And I see only this way. Why? Why don't you use one rond de jambe? Go up, up. And do it without point. Just show me one rond de jambe. No, you're doing this, and after that, where is the... Around, and continue together leg. Not just one part leg and after other part leg. You know, around, développer. And one, from the knee up, better, in one movement. Breathe. You're late. Down, up. Okay, what is here? What is you want to say? Here. You want to fly and you cannot. Up and down. You want to fly and you again cannot. You're complaining. You cannot fly, yes? Because you're under the spell. So let's do with that feeling, not just to do rond de jambe. All right? Pull up again. Push the floor. Away from the floor. Let's see. Rhythm down. Close. Yes? And. I didn't see position. Yeah, parada, pause. I have to take picture from. No, don't abrupt your movement. Don't dance like I talk English, you know. I talk abruptly, but don't dance this way, okay? Conciliene. Connect everything. What is that? Suddenly, bloom, jump. What? I start, I think it's better if you want to take. Would you like to see what I did?
Yes.
Before that. I start diagonal here, but I'll show you. It's okay. Not just to be preparation, you know, to make it. Now I'm going to do diagonal. It become to be so technical. Still, you have to be in your character, in the spiritual way. I think it's more expressive if you start from here. And when Okay, that's fine. Let's stop. Yes, okay. Good, but your arms not classical shape. So, or you do swan arms on the pirouette, yes? And so you have to breathe during her, or you just do classical, yes? Choose. In the end, the interpretation must come from the spiritual qualities of the ballerina. The final choices must be hers.
Yeah, because I start to do this, no?
Don't do that. Academic purity dictates the steps. The rest is up to her. Then in the third act, the ballerina becomes Odile, in disguise as the Black Swan. It is a wonderful chance for the ballerina to show versatility, changing from the purity and innocence of Odette to the confident, irresistible, evil enchantress. Yes, it's not white swan. So it's different energy, different temperament, different character, yes? Which kind? What do you portray?
Powerful.
Powerful, brilliant, seductive.
Strong.
Guts. And exciting woman, okay?
Yeah.
So it has to be exciting and...
Not too sexy.
No, sensuous. Use the floor, up, stretch. Stria, stay. And again, down, grow. Stop, let's Well, it's too early to think about projection and character, but it will help you technically if you really not only think about technicality. It will pull you up. Immediately it's different. It's not melancholy. It's not lyrical and vulnerable opposition. And feel the sensational muscles. If you already imagine this is in the character, so that's what you have to work, proper work. If you get the sensation, you use the muscle, you feel your body, so it's already part of character, yes? You cannot do Odile in dry legs, you know? It doesn't go together. So use the plie, use pulling up, grow into attitude. Feel yourself big. The second great classical role by which a ballerina is judged is Aurora in Sleeping Beauty. And we are compared with the legendary performances of the past. Fortunately, we have proof of one of those legends. Margot Fonteyn as Aurora, the Sleeping Beauty. Margot Fonteyn bringing to the role everything it requires: classical purity and the radiance of eternal youth. The role of Auroras is the supreme challenge of the 19th century classical choreography, because it demands both technical skill and stamina, and even more important, mastery of the pure classical style. Watch out for the quadruple pirouette towards the end of this performance of Aurora's solo by Elisabeth Platel of the Paris Opera Ballet. The third great role, my favorite, is of course Giselle, the tragic story of a young peasant girl who goes mad and dies of a broken heart when she is jilted by a nobleman, Albrecht, and after death comes back to save his life. Some of the legendary performances of Giselle are now preserved for us on film to inspire us and future generations. In Russia, the great Ulanova made this role her own. Alicia Markova was one of the greatest performers in the West. In Act 1, Giselle's innocent happiness and love for Albrecht turns to madness. She dies of a broken heart as the curtain falls. When I first danced Giselle at the Kirov, I was just 19. I had a very naive view of the character, and I looked upon the plot as a rather simple melodrama. Years later, after I came to the West, I had a more clear vision. It is not just a romantic drama, but a drama about the conflict between body and spirit. It's about the tragedy of love. In the first act, the lovers are happy, but they cannot be united in the flesh. In the second act, union takes place, but it is a spiritual union, nothing to do with the body, beyond the grave, away from the world. Both acts of Giselle are manifestations of her soul. Her various states, but her soul is one. In the first act, she is burdened with everyday cares, which are transformed for her by the first feelings of love. In the second act, her soul, purified of all that worldly, superficial and ordinary, is full of regal quietude and wisdom. This is the feminine soul in its purest aspect, its essence. She is a symbol of eternal femininity. Here is my partner, Alexander Sombad. I must overcome the sense of being tied to earth. I try to be simple, light, and weightless. Even in a rehearsal studio in practice costume, with only a piano, You must create atmosphere and work on the feeling as much as the steps. Then in performance, in the presence of an audience, especially in Giselle, I must leave my flesh in the studio and let the spirit take over. It is always a great challenge to recreate the great classical roles, to give new life to the classics. But ballet cannot survive and thrive by only recreating the past. I left Russia because I wanted new roles. I needed the excitement of working with new choreographers like Kenneth Macmillan.
I think all the big roles I've created for a female dancer have been dramatic roles. In some way, the character has been changed throughout the evening, usually disastrously to that character. They're usually in a historical setting. They're not required to do the petit pas acrobatics like the 32 fouettes or the fish dives of Sleeping Beauty. I'm asked them to express more through their body than just that. They're really tragic heroines. I want the audience to believe completely in everything they do, so that when the curtain comes down, they still believe that character exists. We're living now, and there are things surrounding us that don't apply to the 19th century classics anymore. And I felt ballet had to grow up a bit.
In the first act of Kenneth Macmillan's ballet Manon, Manon arrives in Paris as an innocent girl. She meets her brother Lescaut. He is happy to sell his sister to a much older and very rich Monsieur GM. He brings Monsieur GM to Manon's lodgings. Monsieur GM gives Manon a diamond necklace and a beautiful coat. Manon has already met the young de Grieux. He truly loves her, but she is more attracted to the wealth that Monsieur GM offers her.
What fascinated me about Manon, the character, was that he was a young girl who wasn't afraid of sex or guilty even about it. What she was frightened of was being poor, really, in her mind. And she would do anything to get rich, even betray her lover.
For Manon, I make myself very French. I speak French before the performance. I flirt with the men around me. Perhaps they think it's my personality, but really it's Manon, the character. I try to find the right feeling, mood, gestures, and I cannot drop that right away after the performance. Often it stays with me for days afterwards, sometimes longer. like many choreographers, Kenneth Macmillan turned to the tragic story of Romeo and Juliet. The moment when Juliet plucks up the courage to take the sleeping portion calls for more acting than dancing. In contrast to Manon, the calculating woman of the world, Juliet is a frightened, desperate young girl. Another modern choreographer who will be recognized as a master in the future is John Cranko. He died in 1973 at the age of 46. He also created a wonderful Juliet, first of all in 1958 at La Scala, Milan, for Carla Fracci. This is the final scene.